What's going on, family? It's your guy, Boro, the Lucky Libra. Thank you for tuning into another episode. All right, as you can see by the title, we're gonna deviate away from astrology. Even though I'm an astrology addict, and I'm gonna find a way to sprinkle something about the zodiac into any concept that I cover. My spiritual family been on my ass because there's a lot of things to circulate knowledge about other than just astrology. And yes, astrology is such a beautiful and sacred language and science that we have access to in order to pinpoint certain things in our life, right? To see the alchemy of how things manifest itself. But when we understand certain spiritual concepts, period, we don't need to connect to certain practices for us to understand certain things, all right? So, as y'all can see by the title, you need to make sacrifices in order to manifest true love. All right, so before we get into it, y'all go ahead and leave a like, share, subscribe, family, to help me build the community up. All right, help me circulate these gems. Okay, I appreciate all the love and genuine support that you guys sent in the first place. All right, so you need to make sacrifices to manifest true love. What exactly does that make? Why do we need a sacrifice just to experience something that should be our God-given right to experience down here, right? And quote unquote down here, you need to know that you came here, all right? You fell into some lower energies, all right, to be here. But you have to look at the vibration of love itself. You have to look at the vibration of love. Now, to attract anything in your life, you need to learn how to be in that frequency, and you need to learn how to be it to attract it, okay? So if a person dedicates themselves to a certain schedule or routine, and in their head they're saying, if I adapt the principles and the schedule and the routine of a person making $1 million a year, eventually I'm gonna manifest that in the physical reality. All right, there's a saying that says you can't want the money to be happy. You got to be happy, and then the money comes, right? So everything is working inward out. Regardless of what you've experienced in your life, allowing yourself to look at things from a spiritual perspective, you'll always be able to pinpoint how you attracted a situation. And sometimes that's hard to do, especially when we're dealing with traumatic, transformative situations in our life. It's hard to think that we attracted something like that. But this is how the way of the world works. This is how spirituality works, right? So this is on positive and negative, within positive and negative situations, guys. It's just hard at times to say that we attracted that negative situation. But when we do glorious things, when we accomplish major things, it's easy to take credit for all of that, right? But we don't want to take credit for staying in that toxic relationship too long. We play the victim. We don't want to take credit for our forms of stability and security looking a certain way, right? We blame the system. So this is how you continuously put yourself in an environment to grow and spiritually evolve, when you know that you've created your circumstances. All the way down into the life that the family and environment you incarnated into. All right? Very important to understand. Now, if we know what we put out in the air is what we receive, when we look at love, okay, we have to make sacrifices to manifest true, genuine love, okay? And how we do this is realizing the things we are loving now, all right? The things that we are loving now, we're attached to now, we're connected to now, that is not necessarily healthy for us, right? Doesn't necessarily serve us, doesn't help us develop. These are the sacrifices, okay? Because the more you show universe that you love this, you want more access to this, you want to connect to this more, your wishes will be granted. Your wishes will be granted. So if it's no mistake that if you're attached to a certain drug, then your partners and friends, 99.9.5% of the time, you're going to have a group of friends that's that indulges into the drug too. You're going to manifest partners and relationships for you to do that drug with too, right? Just like if you're a very spiritual individual and you're plugged out of the matrix and, you know, you have a strong hotep vibe, you're the black sheep of your family and shit, it's very likely you're not going to date somebody or connect to a certain person or be in an environment where people don't resonate with that vibration. You being in that vibration is going to mold your external realm. It's going to mold your world. We are all in this world, but we all live in a world of our own. All right. So when you start realizing the things that you're continuously supporting, subconsciously asking universe to give you more access towards it because maybe you like it, love it, it make you feel good, right? Understand the form of relationships you attract will revolve around what you've been putting love into, what you've been putting care into, what you've been trying to support, okay? What you've been indulging into. Our relationships, our forms of love are going to reflect these things. So we need to make sacrifices and start putting our self-love in the right areas. Once you start dedicating yourself to exercising and building up, your form of self-love, loving the right things, being more conscious of what you connect to, being more conscious of what you put your energy into, being more conscious about what you let in your world, in your cipher, right? In your sphere. Once you become more conscious of that, now you're putting yourself in a state to manifest a form of love that's more genuine, that's transparent, that's relatable, that you don't have to question. You don't have to question how real this feels because you know what vibration you on and you know what you attract on that vibration. Like I say, a radio station ain't nothing but a frequency. You can't be on Hot 97 expecting to hear Power 103 shit. There's only certain songs that's gonna play on that frequency, right? On that station. So when it comes to all relationships that we done experienced in our life, we attracted these individuals. Some of us incarnated into this realm with soul ties. So it didn't take long for us to reintroduce ourselves to this individual. And when that situation started to become a bit chaotic, or it was time that situation was supposed to be healed and resolved in some type of shape or form, we may have overindulged in that. And it's just through early conditioning in our life a lot of the time. Our family environment, our adolescent stages, a traumatic experience in our first couple of relationships and shit like that, right? So this is where the sacrifices come. This is where the sacrifices come, guys. All right? It's like if you're a person with very intense sexual energy to the point you have no control of it, so you don't know how to say no when it comes to opportunities to sexually engage with somebody. You are consistently looking for that sexual release, the opportunity to sexually release. You're going to continue to manifest opportunities with some lustful mother effers. You're going to attract people that pick up that aura from you. And they may scheme and dance around certain things just to get that, just to receive that, right? Now it gets to a point where you might start to feel unfulfilled and you may want something more genuine. But if that lust demon, if that lust spirit is still very loud, very lively within you, we got to tame that. We got to make some sacrifices to tame that in order to, create portals to attract certain things. Okay, guys? So it's very hard a lot of the times for us that been in toxic relationships, maybe relationships where we were traumatized, taken advantage of, and to understand how did we attract this. But I'm telling you guys, the moment that when you live this life, making sure you always put the blame on yourself, and it sounds kind of negative, right? Because we try to teach or at least circulate that you need to learn not to put heavy energy on yourself, not to keep heavy burdens on yourself so you could continuously, transform, evolve, and not block certain opportunities in your life. But when I say put blame on yourself from understanding that you was on a certain frequency to manifest a certain circumstance in your life, that is not so much blame. That's more so spiritual accountability. All right. So that's the better phrase to use. Okay. We have to hold ourselves accountable for what we attract. You don't attract things by mistake, guys, all right? Whether it's positive or negative, we give ourselves credit for the positive things we attract, but we have to hold ourselves accountable for how we put ourselves in an environment to attract something quote unquote negative in our life, which is ultimately just a lesson and it's a teaching experience, just like anything else in life, especially our relationships, family, especially. So if you're single, if you're single and maybe you have certain aspirations for what you want in a relationship, right? It's not cliche to say exercise self-love and do the work. And self-love is not just about, when we say self-love, it's not just about pampering yourself, making sure you're getting your motherfucking skin exfoliated and your toes and nails done every weekend and making sure your hair, yes, that's a form of self-love, but discipline is a form of self-love. Self-development is a form of self-love. So back to my example earlier, if somebody is overindulging in a certain drug, they will manifest support from their future partners and friends to continue to do that and enable that. Now, if you're somebody that is, you have certain goals to lose certain weight or just, develop your mind, develop yourself physically, right? Get your physical vessel back in shape, feel more healthier internally. So you develop a certain routine or schedule you can stick to, right? You're waking up at a certain time, you're meditating, you're filtering what's on your social media. So even if you are on social media sites, you're making sure what you're seeing is positive on it, right? You're limiting your time with the internet, and you're making sure you're connecting to source, you're connecting to self more, all right? You're doing things to exercise the mind, you're moving the body, you're consuming healthier things, right? That person is putting themselves in a certain frequency to only be able to attract a certain person that can keep up with that. A certain person that's on that frequency. All right. I remember, and I'm gonna just use this example and then I'm out of here. Okay. I remember I was dealing with somebody, and at that moment in my life, I really wanted to initiate some change and transformation into my life, right? And I felt like I was equipped with the tools and experience to understand what to do in this chapter of my life to bring some change that I was seeking for in my life. And I wasn't necessarily thinking like this before I met the person, but in the midst of dealing with the person, all right, I started to individually develop these concepts that were, innately inside of me, but they just started to, grow some more. So when it got to the point that I wanted to make more decisions, being more disciplined, and being more strict with how I'm going to utilize my time and my schedule, because I was dealing with this person and because I'm the type of individual that wants the same success I want for myself, for those who I love, care about, or who's simply just in my environment and around me, I want my neighbor to be as successful as I am. All right, that's where a lot of my passion for doing what I'm doing is. I want us all to grow and shine, right? So when it came to this person, I was forcing them to, diet with me, go to the gym with me, study certain things with me. And initially from the gate, they were with it. But over time, if that person started to become uncomfortable, because that's not what they individually wanted for themselves. That wasn't the frequency they was on. And because of that, it's bygones is bygones. It's no bad blood, but there's going to be a separation. So that's simply from me putting myself in a certain space. And when you put yourself in a certain space, guys, you're going to see things fall out your lives. You're going to see certain people fall out your lives. You're going to look at certain habits and tendencies of things that you used to overindulge into or connect to and be like, damn, I can't believe I spent that much time in doing that. That was unproductive. It wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't progressive in any type of way. I can't believe I spent this much time around these people, even though it was a pleasurable time, even though it was always fun, right? Because when you get that invested in wanting better for yourself, things just fall off. Things just shed. You're going to just shed your old skin, all right? So there's many things that, a lot of us want in life. There's many things a lot of us desire and want to accomplish and manifest. Are we putting ourselves in the right environment to attract the right people, places, and things to help us get there? All right? Are we making the right sacrifices? So yes, this title of the video is we have to make sacrifices to experience, true love. But at the same time, we can take this concept into anything else that we're trying to accomplish in life. But Venus just entered Taurus, guys. It's a lot of relationship energy in the air. It's Gemini season, all right? So this is definitely a time to learn to live a little bit, drop your shoulders, jump into certain activities that help release tension, okay? Do a little self-pampering. Make sure you don't overindulge with Venus and Taurus, because when it comes to our pleasures, what we like and love, we could go a little too far when Venus is in Taurus, all right? So we want to stay on top of that, but hopefully this message resonated with somebody out there. All right, guys, I'm going to definitely be making this more of a habit, getting these videos, these, random spiritual concept videos out there, okay? So, you already know the vibes, man. It's the Lucky Libra. I'd appreciate any like, sharing, and subscribing coming from y'all way. Let's continue to build the community up. Tap into my website if you'd like to connect with the Lucky Libra. Tap into my Patreon if you'd like to dive deeper. Until next time, family, peace.